Hi everybody. The first website that I'm going to talk about is StudyLadder, and the address is www.studyladder.com. My intended audience for this website would be my students, and not only my homeroom students, but the students that I have for reading small group. The way small group works in my district is that students are ability grouped into 4 different levels of small groups, and the group that I work with are students that struggle. A lot of my kiddos are on IEPs. In my reading small group, I don't have any native English speakers, and I have 4 students that are considered non-English speakers, so I kind of have some struggles with them. So when I was looking for a website that they could use, I was looking for something that would give me the ability to have different levels of work done on the same website by different kids. So kids that need to work on English, just acquiring vocab, can work on that. Kids that need to work on comprehension skills can work on that. And this website really lets me do this. Another thing that I want to point out before I get going on how I actually use it, StudyLadder does have an ICT section, which is for mixed grade levels, and it has lessons on using technology safely and appropriately, which goes along with ISTE T4, all A through D on that, with the promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility. I didn't actually realize that section was in there because it wasn't what I was originally intending on using it for, but I am going to go back and kind of spend some time looking at that and see if it would be appropriate for my kiddos so they can have some training that's not just me telling them, hey, you should do this when you're online, but something else that will kind of give them that knowledge. Okay, so once you go to StudyLadder, you would have to join now, and all that is going in and creating your account. I already have an account, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in. Once you are logged in, the first thing you would need to do is add a new class. You can go ahead and give it a class name. My class names are there so I can kind of keep track of what level of work those classes are working on, those groups are working on anyway. You can choose a grade level. This is really just for your reference. The kiddos don't see it, and it doesn't prohibit you from assigning work outside of that grade level. And then you can go ahead and, if you want to have a list of kids, you can copy and paste them in, or you can go ahead and type your names in, and then it auto-generates usernames and passwords for them. Once you have your classes set up, like this is Reading Small Group 1, then you can go ahead and set tasks. Once you click on Set Tasks, you are still able to choose from any grade level of work. StudyLadder goes pre-K through grade 7 on their work. They have math, English, science, ICT, health and safety, language and culture, music, art, some themes. And the activities do change depending on what grade level you're clicked on at the time. This particular class that I have is working on English as an additional language activities. There's a lot of vocab work for them because the kids that are in this group are my NES kiddos. I don't currently use this one for math, but you do have that ability should you want to use it for math. When they are assigned to the class on your front page, it tells you when they were logged in last. It tells how many points they've accrued, and that just goes along with them answering questions correctly, completing tasks. It shows how far they are through it. So this particular kiddo is a lot further through her task. She's in the room a lot longer than my other kiddos in this group are. And then I have kids that are working on different levels of work. It does also, to help with reinforce, hey, you should actually try to do this. They do give you certificates to print out for kids as they kind of progress through their levels and achieve different point levels. Just an incentive to try to say, hey, keep doing this. You can, let's do this. Greens are goods. That's tasks that she's totally passed. If they get yellow, it was something that they missed. And if you notice how some are grayed out, those are ones they haven't done. They don't necessarily have to do the first task first. They're not necessarily linear. If you decide to use the English as a second language, some of those are meant to go before others because sometimes they have one lesson that will talk about new words, and then the next lesson will do something using those words. So that one you may want to say do it in the order they have it for you. But if they're doing comprehension things, that isn't really necessary. The stories aren't necessarily related to each other. And if you notice, this particular kiddo has a few yellows, some greens, and a couple of reds. They actually are able to go back to things that they've done poorly on and redo them, so that they can get mastery on those skills that they are struggling with. It does give individual reports. It tells you the things they're scoring well on. It tells you these are some of the areas that they were struggling on. It tells you that they weren't 100% on, and then these are the areas of real struggle. So these would be kind of areas that I would maybe want to focus on more. And I can go in and look at the text and see what kind of questions were asked, what the story was, so I have an idea of what they were working on. Another thing I like about this is that not only do they read the story and then do questions, but they can go back to the story. So many of the kids that I work with seem to think that once you've read the story, you can't go back and look and see if the answers are in there. But this lets them do it. It does let it be read to them, which is good for some of my kiddos that are on IEPs and really struggle with the reading. They understand, but they can't read it, and this does give them the option to have it read to them, which is handy for the particular kiddos that I work with. Okay. And then once you have kids that are in a class, they're not stuck there. You can move them to different classes. Once this girl here finishes these tasks, I'm going to have to decide, do I want to try to move her up to this, or do I want to assign her something different? Right now, I don't think she's quite ready for this, so I don't think I would move her up here, but I am going to give her some tasks that are a little bit more involved than the vocab work, and some of the really simple stories that she's been doing to kind of see where she's at. And same, I can move kids down to a different group if I want to. It gives you a lot of freedom to move them around, so you can give them the different things that they really need to work on, and that goes along with ISTE T2C, customize and personalize learning activities to address students' diverse learning styles, working strategies, and abilities using digital tools and resources. I started using Study Ladder maybe about 2 months ago, and the kids are really liking it. I've used some other things in the past. This seems to hold their attention a little bit better, which anything that will hold their attention, they'll try a little harder, and so I'm really liking this so far. So I hope someone gives it a try. Okay, thanks.